Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, it is good to see so many of you present here today. It is always a pleasure to have this time to celebrate with you your vocation as teachers. The theme of our celebration today comes from the invitation of Jesus to take up our cross and follow Him. To follow, to walk in His presence at every moment of every day. That is what we are going to reflect on for the next few moments. I want to tell you about a very important event in the life of the church. The Holy Father, Pope Benedict XVI, has invited the universal church to turn its attention to the faith and has declared October 11 this year as the beginning of the year of faith until 24th November next year. So this is the year of faith that the Holy Father is focusing on for all of us. Now on the 11th of October, as bishops from around the world gather in Rome for a synod, a gathering on the new evangelization, they will mark the opening of the year of faith, which is also the 50th anniversary of the opening of the Second Vatican Council, which was a great springtime for the church. And at the same time, it is also the 20th anniversary of the CCC, Catechism of the Catholic Church. I invite all of you to celebrate with me this great beginning of the Year of Faith with a Eucharistic celebration at the Cathedral on the 11th of October at 8 p.m. This Year of Faith is a gift to the Church, to all of us, so that we can more conscientiously follow Christ. We can realize how He accompanies us and we will learn to walk more attentively in His presence. It is a time to reflect on the many graces we have received and very often taken for granted, and to continue to receive the graces through the Second Vatican Council and through the Church. The Year of Faith is a journey we are making as a community of faithful, so that we can enter into the grace offered at this time to transform and revitalize our relationship with Christ. The grace of this Year of Faith will help us understand with the heart and mind the meaning of the cross, the death, the resurrection of Jesus for us today. Not something just of the past, but meaning of these mysteries for us today. The readings today give us just the right curriculum framework to understand our tasks during this Year of Faith. In the first reading which we have heard from the prophet Isaiah, we hear of the suffering servant, the people of Israel, how they opened their ears and hearts to the Lord to understand the way of God, the way God wanted them to live. They obeyed even though it was very difficult path to follow. For us to, this Year of Faith, in this Year of Faith, let us find all the ways to open our ears and our hearts. First, let us find more time to say to the Lord, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." And let us take some moments to listen each day. Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. Let us give God a chance to speak to us, and let His face shine on us. Secondly, we are reminded also by the prophet Isaiah that we have only to depend on God for our well-being without fear of being taunted or dismissed. Crosses may come by, disappointment, but anyway, God is always with us. And thirdly, in this year of faith, when we also celebrate the 20th anniversary of the publishing of the Catechism of the Catholic Church, we can open our ears and our eyes also to hear God speaking through the teachings of the Church, expressed in this great compendium. Try to make time to study and read together some sections of this important document, Catechism of the Catholic Church. The Psalm today continues the invitation to walk in the presence of the Lord, here and now, in the land of the living, with the disciples' ear and with confident prayer. Let us not postpone the spiritual life because we are too busy, too tired out, but on the contrary, let us be truly convinced that we can do nothing without prayer and spiritual nourishment. We can do nothing without prayer and spiritual nourishment. Keep that in mind. We will find our energy in the Lord and become spiritually strong, resilient, and purposeful when we are attuned to God. Then the second reading of today from the Apostle James is about faith that can be seen in action and faith that is expressed in words. We need faith that lives and does good works. Faith without works is dead. So in this year of faith, we can reflect more deeply on what faith is for us. We need to learn more about the content of our faith, its teachings, traditions, scriptures. Let us not just be satisfied and say, we are Catholics. Yes, we know our faith. How deep, how profound is our knowledge of the faith? We have to be very honest with ourselves. So we need to learn more about the contents of our faith. We need to relate more closely to God and to God's people, to reflect the love and communion that God intended for all of us. So we must have the faith, and the faith must find expression in our words of actions towards others. We need also to take stock of how we have collected a great deal of baggage along the way and see what needs to be left behind so that we can travel light with confidence, trust, and joy in the Lord. For the year of faith, the emphasis is not only on learning about truths of our faith, but also to be witnesses of the faith. So it's not just intellectual knowledge. Witnesses in Greek means martyr. The call to be a visible sign of the absolute love of God. Not all witnessing is ending in death, but is a call to live with God at the center. We are called to be witnesses. We may not be martyrs in the sense of having to give our life to guide, but to give our life in the sense of dedicating our whole life for the glory of God. Then finally, in the Gospel passage today, Jesus invites us to answer the age-old question, who do you say I am? Let us answer this question of Jesus with our whole person and our whole being as we travel through the year of faith. Who am I? Who is Jesus Christ? Can we really answer as Peter had answered? You are the Christ, the Son of God. You are the Christ, the Messiah. Let us avoid the temptation of Peter to want to keep things happy and free of all pain. Nothing wrong with being happy, but there are too many prosperity gospels out in the world, in our society, and it needs to hear of God, who understands our pains, and accompanies us through the roughest times and the happiest of times. God is with us always. I am with you until the consummation of the world. Finally, dear brothers and sisters, on this journey of faith, every day is a new beginning, and each day is filled with the beauty of our faith. Let us be faithful companions to each other, ready to lose ourselves in Christ so as to gain a richer and fuller life. And I invite you to be engaged in the education, to come, especially to reach out especially to the students under your care, so that this year of faith will really come alive through you to them. Open the door of faith for others. So this is your responsibility to share the life we have in Christ. Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, so in this particular celebration, I would like you to focus on what the Holy Father is trying to impress on us, the year of faith. So see how you can deepen your faith. And I say, you deepen your faith, of course, by your personal prayer life, communal prayer life, and by delving more into some of the doctrines of the Vatican Council and the Catechism of the Catholic Church, then to attend some courses on scriptures and other faith formation courses. So in this way, you will be equipped. You will come to know the faith better. You will really have the faith in you, and Christ will be in the life of you. And you know that as teachers, you are called by God. It is not a profession, but it is a vocation, a call from God. God calls you to this important task of helping the young ones to grow in the right faith, to have wonderful atmosphere of love, and be able to come to really recognize Christ and appreciate Christ. Our ACCS, Archbishop of Catholic School, have been putting a lot of efforts, so I do hope that you will cooperate with them and do your part and to implement whatever will be useful for you and for Catholic education in general. We are very grateful to the ACCS, but we know that no matter how much work they put in, they need you also your cooperation. So please be serious about what is communicated to you, to the ACCS, and try to implement in your schools. I pray to God that all of you will really appreciate and thank God, be grateful to God for this vocation that you have, a very important vocation, because the future of the young will depend on you. So you pray for yourself, pray for one another, and I pray for all of you that this vocation of yours will really be not only for your fulfillment, but also bring Christ and make Christ more and more alive in those that you are educating. God bless you all.